Wow. No, it's been a while since this happened. Going on about 3:19 a.m. September 5th, 2018. I say it's been a while since this happened. Since the Holy Ghost has woke me up this early in the morning. Been doing it quite a bit there for a while, but woke me up this morning, big time. That twilight area, so I'm talking fast. Yeah, it brought back to memory what had happened to me in 2011 when I had my first pacemaker surgery, and what had happened to me in 2013 when I had gallbladder surgery, and what has happened to me again in 2017 when I had my pacemaker replaced. And I didn't know anything about it even back in 2011. It's called Anesthesia Amnesia. Yeah, she's a smart cookie, boy. Them demons are really... That Jezebel spirit, narcissistic spirit, is really smart. She knew about that. Because I remember talking about it to her back in 2011. I mean, it was about 6 months later when my memory started coming back. Oh, I mean, I knew who I was and stuff like that. I don't know how to explain. Look it up. Anesthesia Amnesia. But I'd forgotten a lot of things about her and I's relationship back in 2011 for about 6 months, which is what brought on my asthma, which brought on my COPD that they diagnosed later as COPD. I mean, I became very emotionally disturbed and upset after 6 months when my memories started coming back to me. And that's when I started realizing that, hey, she had tried to poison me with the Proxen. Well, the same thing happened again in 2013 when I had my gallbladder surgery. For about 6 months there, memories about my relationship and difficulties with her was pretty much not there. It took about 6 months again before I started remembering things. Well, she knew that. I talked about it again to her. All right, well, here we were, 2017. She had me pretty well drugged out on medications again, to the point where I couldn't breathe because of the toxic environment. Well, 2 weeks after I was taken out by force, I ended up in the hospital. And I had some major damn surgery that put me out. They took out the old leads from my old pacemaker. I guess I had 5 pints of blood, so I was out for a bit, I think. Anyhow, I suffered, again, anesthesia amnesia. So for 6 months there, from December to May, June, whatever, approximately 6 months, again I was suffering anesthesia amnesia. And I don't know how to explain it. I imagine it affects a lot of people in a lot of different ways, but it definitely affected me again, where there's a lot of things that I knew but didn't really know. I don't know how to explain it. She knew that, so she knew what she could get away with. She had already had 2 trial runs, if you want to put it that way, 2 situations before with surgery. Actually, I'd had it before that and didn't know it. That's back when I had my teeth removed. Over a period of 2 weeks, I had been knocked out twice. So during that period of time, I had an anesthesia amnesia also and didn't realize it. I was very shallow in my, I won't say cognitive skills, but in my recall memory. Emotional memory seemed to be what was wiped out. I don't know how to explain it, but boy, she used that to her advantage. Yeah, that's what woke me up this morning. Holy Spirit speaking to me, bringing to my mind about anesthesia amnesia. damn lawyer was wanting to know in the courthouse. My pastor from my church, a pastor from my church, told me to stop talking about leaving it in the hands of God because I was starting to sound incompetent. And that's what I had done for 8 months. Well, 6 months, whatever. From December to May is when I had my court hearing. Yeah, I had put things in the hands of the Lord, like I had basically done before. But I wasn't as verbal about it before because I couldn't recall a lot of things about the emotional status of our relationship. I know who I was, but I was in a bit of a fog. I mean, I knew who I was and stuff. You'd have to look up anesthesia amnesia. I haven't. I don't know what it might say, but I know how it affected me. So yeah, here we are. I'm trying to figure out what to do during a period of time where I'm suffering anesthesia amnesia. I call it a shallow memory. I call it an emotional lack of memory. I don't know how to explain it. But it definitely worked in her advantage all 3 times. And she didn't mind using it at all. That's what I mean. A narcissist uses you. They learn you and they use you. And again, she used me. She used me in 2011 after the naproxen poisoning in a pacemaker implant. For 6 months there, I couldn't really have any memory, emotional memory of, I mean, I knew she was my wife, I knew my name, I knew that kind of thing, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't know. I mean, I really didn't remember it until, and it's not like all of a sudden my memory came back 6 months later, but it's almost like it did. I started remembering, wait a minute, that we got a problem here. She did this before, pushing me, pressing me. I began to see the light again. So between the time when I had my teeth removed and was knocked out twice in 2 or 3 weeks, whatever, I mean, I was knocked out. I had anesthesia amnesia back then too and didn't even know it. Yeah, this is something else. Yeah, they're going to start wondering if you're competent. Well, what is competence? I knew where I was, I knew this and that, but I didn't know, yeah. Everybody's an individual, and we're treated as if we're a hive instead of individuals. Anyhow, I had to record this. Woke me up this morning, a little bit after 3. It's going on 3:30 now. All that was going on in my mind was, the words were anesthesia amnesia. Remember you didn't remember. Yeah, I think that's what made what had happened in 2017. I didn't even remember what the argument was about or what the debate was about. It wasn't even an argument. See, I'm saying argument now because I didn't know back then. I'm thinking we had an argument. We didn't have an argument. Not an argument at all. I remember this incident. All this stuff has come back to me in the last 10 months. I think it's actually taken a little longer this time than it did the first couple times. I think that's what's made this difficult, except this time she used it to her advantage. Oh, I think she used it to her advantage first few times when I had my teeth done. Yeah. And I don't understand that back then either. We had 10 to 17 pounds of air in our tires in the car when we were going back and forth to Lawton for my teeth to be done. I don't know what kept the wheels on the car, to be honest with you. I remember checking the air in the tires in Lawton there the last time we were up there, and my God, there was only 10 pounds in like 1 or 2 tires and 17 in the other 2. there wasn't enough air, and the damn tire started to keep the rubber on the rim. Anyhow, I'm diversing now about memory, and it's bad enough that I'm 70 years old now, 71, and having some degree of dementia from time to time. I can be talking about something and forget what my next thought was going to be that I'd already thought but had not yet said, and then forgot what it was, forgot where I was at. It's nothing really disastrous. I mean, I'm not forgetting that I got something on the stove. I did have a little problem with that, though, after the 2011 deal. After actually back as far back as when I had my teeth done back in 2006, I think it was. I had a little amnesia back then, day-to-day amnesia, where I'd be cooking something on the stove and forget about it. Leave a burner on and forget to turn it off. Wasn't major, never caught anything prior, but I think that was a result of some of that surgery. I ain't had none of that since this, except not remembering. All I knew was there was something very emotional that I couldn't really grasp my head around. And it wasn't due to the trauma, it was amnesia due to the surgery. As a matter of fact, I probably should look this up and see what it's really all about, because I know I've suffered it. Well, she knew about that, and I'm sure when she realized and found out that I had my pacemaker replaced and had major surgery, because she knew about it, the bill went to her house, went to Burke. I had no address at the time, so my insurance, I'm sure, sent it to Burke. You got to realize I was in the hospital for 6 weeks, and it was November, latter part of December when I got out. And you know how those bills are, they don't show up sometimes for 3 months, so I don't think my address had even been changed yet in January. I'm not sure. And I'm sure she knew about it, because I never got the bill for that surgery. I had to have gone to her. So she knew, so she used it to her advantage. She knew my past and how anesthesia amnesia affected me. So she used that to her advantage, like she used everything else she ever learned about me to her advantage. Well, that's what the Holy Spirit brought to my mind this morning, and it's a whole lot more depthy in my mind than what I'm saying right now, because I wanted to get on here and get it down before the clarity of it was gone. So this was September 5th, 2018. It's now 3:30. Wow, it's still 9/5 of 2018, and this is the second part of that video. I may splice them together, I don't know, but I went and looked up anesthesia amnesia, and I found something about how it affects you immediately after surgery, but I also found some information that shows the long-term effect, that it can last up to 3 months, effects upon the memory. Well, that's what they know. I believe mine lasted actually 6 months. Very interesting. I don't know why I didn't ever look this up before. I remember somebody telling me, oh, well, you were suffering anesthesia amnesia, because I had said something about I couldn't remember some things. Well, I don't know why I never looked it up before, but I just looked it up. I'm in the middle of a video right now on how your brain's memory are your brain's memories ever actually lost? And I can tell you they're not. They're just it takes a while and stimulation and so forth for some of those to come back. In my case, actually, I think it was more my emotional memory than it was actual fact memory, emotional memory, feelings. The irony of it is, I think some of that memory, amnesia, was caused not just by the surgery, but by the overdosing of the medications that my wife was giving me. The naproxen definitely did me in. That's the curious thing about it is, oh gosh,
my allergies kicking in now while I'm remembering stuff, and I don't want to stop. I can remember my wife telling me after I had my, it was a year or so later after I had my first pacemaker put in, of it was so sudden, she says, and sex had actually gotten better. And I did remember, at that point that, yeah, our sex had actually gotten better. Our intimacy had actually gotten better. Well, that was due to the medications she'd been giving me. It was affecting my memory, my emotional memory. And some of the disturbances emotionally about our relationship was actually being lost due to the over-medicating of naproxen. And with those memories being lost, or I won't say lost, but not able to be bought, they weren't there. Sex actually did improve because I didn't have these psychological things suppressing my desire to want to be intimate with her. Those memories just weren't there. They began to be lost. And then the surgery on top of that, I mean, like I said, it took, I think, 6 months for me before the emotional memories about the problems in our relationship really came back to me. And they came back to me in a way that I really didn't realize those were the memories that were lost for a period of time. That, I went and looked it up, and I'm still in the middle of studying this. I just don't understand why I never looked that up before. I mean, I heard the words anesthesia amnesia. Somebody had said something to me. And I think it was in connection with my behavior right after surgery, because I was a little tipsy when I had my teeth done. My wife said it was even comical, but the point is that was the immediate after effects. The long-term effects on me was loss of emotional memory. And so far what I've seen is that it can last up to 3 months. Well, knowing my system and the way I react with medications and so forth, it probably lasted longer, because I'm sure it lasted at least 6 months. There was some short-term effects upon my memory over the years. I think that might be due to age, where, yes, I would forget that I had left a burner on the stove. Or, I'd go into the bathroom and not remember what the hell I went in there for. I'd find myself sitting on the john and say, what am I doing here? I didn't have to go to the bathroom. And then I would leave, and I'd go back to the living room, and then I'd remember, okay, that may not have a thing to do with anesthesia amnesia. That may have just been my age, or it had to do with more with the medications that I was being given. But since I've been taken out of that environment where I'm no longer subject to my wife giving me medications that I shouldn't be taking, I'm no longer in an environment that's causing me physical pain. Emotional pain is still there, because at this point in time, my memory has pretty much returned. It's came back slowly over the last 10 months, 11 months, since I had the surgery on my heart and a new pacemaker put in. And that sort of wiped out some emotional memory. There was a lot of things I couldn't understand. And the point of it is my narcissistic Jezebel wife, I think also was affected back when she had her teeth removed. I can remember somewhat, because see, she had hers done, I think it was a year before I had mine done. And now I look back and I can see where, there was a bit of an effect on her, I think, at the time. I don't think it was as severe as mine. She did seem to have an indication over the years since those teeth were removed and she had that surgery. I had noticed over a period of time that she had a hard time recognizing faces, especially actors and actresses' faces. We'd be watching a program, and that may have nothing to do with surgery either. That may just due to age, I don't know. But she would identify somebody, that's so-and-so. Well, let's say, no, that ain't so-and-so. I mean, I knew it wasn't so-and-so, but she thought it was. She was so certain at times she actually went and got on her computer and came back and said, reluctantly, because she never liked being wrong. And she hated it when I was right. She said, yeah, you're right, that's not so-and-so. She said, it sure looks like him, though. And I'm looking at the person on the movie or the show, and I'm thinking, it doesn't even come close. Well, over a period of time, I did learn that Sometimes Alzheimer's. It can be preceded with people having trouble with facial recognition. Nothing real serious, but like with actors and actresses, that could be be an early sign of Alzheimer's. Well, it could also be due to the fact she was taking medications excessively that I didn't know about. This is what's happened to us as we've gotten older. It's easy to misidentify some things as though you're just getting older, from the actual fact that you're over-medicating yourself, overdosing yourself on medications, or you're overdosing each other on medications. In my case, she was overdosing me, and she was probably overdosing herself, self-medicating more than what she should have on pain medications. That did seem to indicate there was a memory problem going on there with her. I was definitely having a memory problem. Especially this last time in 2017. She had me on not naproxen, that was back in 2011, on tramadol. And I think there was some hydrocodone being snuck in there from some unofficial source that she may have been getting it from. I don't know, but I know my body highs in that last week or so was not something I normally ever felt, taking pain medications of any kind that I knew of. I had taken hydrocodone once before when I had my teeth done back in 2006, but it was only like 9 pills they gave me, and I was reluctant to take those. I didn't even take them all, actually, to be honest with you. Yeah, there's some factors there, and here's where the real problem comes in, is I think that's what she was always somewhat narcissistic, always happened to have the attention on her. And I understood that. I just wrote it off as, actually, I saw it as somewhat cute that she had to have the center of the stage. Well, that's fine. I grew up being a stagehand for brothers and sister. I had no problem with that. I'm the guy behind the curtain, and I don't mind being behind the curtain, doing my thing that other people don't even know about, doing what I do behind the curtain, supporting what the person on the stage is doing. And I'm doing a lot of times prep work for the person on the stage. But that's all right, no problem. But I think due to over-medicating, getting older, some surgeries, especially with her teeth, that was a pretty traumatic experience, I think, that I don't think she realized it, and I certainly didn't realize it. And the next year I had my teeth removed and had several surgeries, being knocked out. Comes to my mind now that's when I remember she told me that the doctor came out after he had me pretty well waiting for me to go under, and made known to her that there was a bit of a heart murmur, that there wasn't nothing serious. He was going to go ahead with the teeth extractions, but it was something that she might want to have checked out at a later date. It wasn't major. A lot of people have heart murmurs. But something she might want to get checked out. And I vaguely remember her telling me about it not long after the surgery, or close to the surgery. But it was all forgotten. I mean, there's something that happens. Everybody's an individual, but with anesthesia amnesia and age, I won't completely eliminate the fact that, hey, I'm getting older, but my memory is usually loss of memory. Amnesia is due to emotional, because I'm very sensitive emotionally. Always have been. I've had a number of traumas in my life, social traumas, issues that it was just easier to forget and move on. Well, going into surgery, taking some pain medications, overdosed on it, may have helped my memory lose some of that emotional memory. That's, as I say, that's why I think sex had improved so much back in 2011, because she was overdosing me on naproxen for months, and I think it was affecting my memory and my emotional memory. So I didn't have these psychological suppressants in the way that would affect my desire and sexual performance. So I was doing pretty good from what she told me later on that she just didn't understand everything. I seemed to be doing so well. I'd lost weight and appeared to be healthier, and sex was even better, she said. And then, bam, I ended up in the hospital with heart surgery, with a pacemaker put in. Yeah. I think that's the curious thing about this is I think she knows that no contact with me is probably the best thing to do, because I think she felt she was overdosing me. There's no doubt about it. She was overdosing me on tramadol. And I found out since then that I shouldn't have even been taking tramadol. It's another miracle, as far as I'm concerned, that God has performed, because the amount of naproxen that I was overdosing on that she was giving me back in 2011 when I was in pain, and I think some of the pain actually was increased by overdosing on naproxen. I think she, over a period of time, realized that my memory was affected by some of these drugs. Well, the fact that she was overdosing me on naproxen and some hydrocodone possibly that I didn't know about, and not knowing the severity of the tramadol, this is just really hard for me to get my head around still, that she was actually either subconsciously or consciously, I don't know, trying to do away with me, with overdosing me on those few occasions, plus what she learned as a result of my surgeries of memory loss. It was emotional memory loss more than it was factual memory loss, because the facts of our relationship was more emotional memory than it was facts. I knew there was a problem emotionally. It affected me emotionally. I mean, that's where my relationship is. I'm an emotional person. I'm very logical, but I'm also a person who measures things emotionally through logic. So, yeah, I don't want to talk too long here. I just wanted to add this to that segment that I had earlier when the Holy Spirit had woke me up, and I jumped on here real quick to log what had been made so clear to me by the Holy Spirit, that, you know, anesthesia amnesia and the long-term effects that it has on me anyhow. I think mine lasted more than 3 months. That's what the one indication. I haven't looked too much further into it, but a little bit, and I come across this one. I may attach it to this video so that people can see it, but I just don't understand. With my reputation, I mean, I look stuff up on the internet all the time. I looked up all the different types of medications, yet I think over a period of time I was becoming logically disabled and emotionally disabled, and it was just easier to step back and let her have control, which is ultimately what a narcissist wants. And I think due to some medications, overdosing on her part, maybe some of the surgeries, obviously now I'm found out that there's some cancer issues with her that I don't know for sure about. I don't know what the extent of her health care is now, because there's been no contact, and she's told people she doesn't want me to know anything. And the fact that I've been removed from the environment, so it has taken me a while, because I don't, the computer here has been a mind stimulant, an emotional stimulant, because as I've gone through some of the things on my computer, and it's caused me to have a recovery of memories. It's taken some time. Some of these recoveries were very uncomfortable, because I found files and then other files that I knew I had that had disappeared that was on my desktop, and I think somebody got rid of those, or somebody put them on my desktop. I don't know. I'm still having some getting it all back together over a period of time when you're in a completely different environment. And the only thing familiar in my environment now compared to back then is I still have my service dog, and I still have my computer here, and there's a lot of stuff I don't think they could eliminate what they would like to have eliminated. And I think they were, I don't know, maybe her cognitive skills were so affected by her overdosing on the tramadol and hydrocodone that she did not realize that by giving me this computer later, and she had it for a good 2.5 months before I got it, that there would be stuff on there that would stimulate my memory. Maybe it just never occurred to her, but I have found things on here, and as difficult as it has been emotionally for me to watch some of this, to recover some of the, look at some of these folders that had information on them that I had collected. I've even found emails that I sent. It's in my send box that I'd sent to her on some of these medications. Yeah, I sent her emails to links on some of the medications she was taking and my medications and what the side effects were. Thank God I had them in sent email, because that helped stimulate some emotional memories of my logic at the time was, I think some of these medications are affecting you. You need to look up on your email. I sent you a link to a site that tells about the side effects, and you do seem to be having some of those side effects. Yeah, she. I don't think if she'd had cognitive skills, she would have allowed me to have gotten this computer, because I've been keeping records on it for a long time. I have the I had the sites on the pacemaker surgery. As a matter of fact, after I'd got out of the hospital, I looked it up, and I found the pacemaker surgery on YouTube, how to remove a pacemaker and a new pacemaker being put in, plugged into the old leads. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm talking too long. I'm up 17 minutes, but I have looked it up, and I can't understand why I didn't ever looked it up before. That's just not me. But like I say, it's probably been smart that she's had no contact with me, because she's probably afraid of what I might remember. Well, darling, I am remembering a lot of things. Age has affected us both. Medications that were abused has affected us both. Your narcissistic Jezebel personality disorder, whatever it's called, I think has been magnified due to overdosing of some medications, maybe due to surgeries. As far back as when you had your teeth done in 2006, whenever it was. I tried to figure out, when did you actually change? When did I change? What I'm trying to, me, I'm a logical person, and I do rely on data, experiences, information, and it's a little hard to do sometimes when your memory is lapsing and you don't remember some things. And it's curious when you tell people that you have a bit of see, now here comes a senior moment. Not amnesia. I can't think of the word now. I hate this when that happens. It's not amnesia. Dementia. When you have a bit of dementia from time to time, it's curious that when I've tested it with some people, you tell them, well, I've got a little dementia, so you're going to have to forgive me. At that point, then they start thinking they can say you did things, or say you said things that you didn't say. You didn't say. You know your dementia levels and where that dementia is, and when you've planted things on purpose, and then you find them saying that you said this or said that when you know you didn't. But the minute they think they've got something on you that you have, I have a slight bit of dementia. Oh, all of a sudden now you don't remember that you owed them $10. No, you didn't owe them $10, because I don't borrow money under any circumstances. That has always been my lifelong policy. I don't borrow money. Not cash money like that, I don't do that. But they start saying, oh, you're going to pay me like $10. What are you talking about? I don't owe you $10. Oh, yeah, you do. Well, when did I get $10 from you? Well, you got dementia, remember? You probably don't remember it. They're trying to get money out of me, because you don't want to admit that to people, that you've got dementia. And, it's not that severe that I can't remember borrowing $10 off somebody, because number one, I know I don't do that. I just don't do that. And I won't accept a loan from anybody. Be not a borrower nor a lender. That's always been my lifelong policy. So I know they're just trying to take advantage of what they think that I'm aware of, that I have some dementia from time to time, a bit of forgetfulness, but not about money. No. It's funny how when you tell somebody that, oh, it's automatically, the last thing you want to do too is tell them that you have, anesthesia amnesia. You have medication amnesia. I'm getting way off course now. I may cut some of this, but yeah, I don't understand why I didn't look this up before all that time. I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of folders on this computer of stuff I've looked up and filed over the years. And I mean, I can go back quite a few years. And there were things on my desktop when she set me up and had me forcibly taken out of there. I had stuff on my desktop, information on one of the new pain medications the doctor had prescribed for me, that I built a folder and put that information in it and told her that I was not going to take that pain medication because I didn't like the side effects of it, of what it was predicted, some of the side effects it could have, and I didn't want to take a chance with it. So I set that pain medication up on a top shelf and was going to dispose of it later. I don't know if she ever got a hold of it herself and started taking it too. I don't know, but I never took any of it. This has been a perfect storm, and the narcissist used everything she could to her advantage, control, and in the same time, I think she lost control. And I think she was having a lot of health issues that I was not aware of at the time. So yeah, I'm getting off on another subject now, but anesthesia amnesia, due to surgery, due to medications, side effects. And mine's always been an emotional type anesthesia amnesia, if you want to call it that. Even she commented at one time, she says, you tend not to hear things you don't want to hear. That's what you're talking about. I said, well, when we're doing an interview with a potential employee, I hear things and I'm waiting for you to respond to them, and then I realized over a period of time, you don't hear what you don't want to hear. Things that would really, she said, yeah, you didn't hear her say that? And I said, no, I didn't hear her say that. He said, well, she said it, and I was surprised you didn't react to it and question her more on it, or question her at all. And she says, you seem to want to eliminate that you don't want to hear. Yeah, I do.